But let me just switch this over. Mike is here, and let's get this show on the road.
Literally on the road.
There you go.
Can you
Good
hear
job,
me all
Mike.
right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Good. I'm literally on the road. So, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so a lot of different stuff happening in these past couple weeks. Obviously, today Flyers make a trade. We talked last week about Hayes getting bought out. He ends up getting traded today. It seemed like it was going to happen over the weekend. Could have been a little bit more to the deal. Might have been Sanheim with him. But the Flyers do trade Hayes for a 6th-round pick in 2024, retained 50% of his contract. Cap hit in St. Louis will be a little over $3.5 million. Just any quick thoughts on the Hayes deal?
Well, it's interesting because we talked about it last week, and it's like you have two choices, right? You move them, or you try and set a fire under them, And
Right.
Danny Keith thought obviously that wasn't going to be what the path they wanted to go with it, and so they end up having to keep half of his salary and get a 6th-rounder for him. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, the guy might find his game there a little bit more in St. Louis, so who knows? And they decided to cut bait and move on and just eat the money a little bit. But
Yeah.
that's the way it goes, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. It seemed like it was pretty much just the fact that I think that type of move was kind of just like, yeah, there was no chance of him coming back here and playing. It kind of hurt the other day too, because you had the Ryan Johansson deal that went through, and Johansson, similar type of players that
Yeah.
make a good chunk of money, all that stuff, and he ends up getting traded at 50% for not even Alex Galchenyuk, the rights to Galchenyuk because he's a free agent. So that was probably part of it too. It's just the fact that you have so much kind of changing there. But just kind of going off that, then D'Angelo, he's kind of rumored to get traded too, and that's been one of the things that he's a guy that you're probably going to move. It's weird, Mike. I'm not sure if you saw, but there was the rule with the CBA where, and I'm curious if you've ever seen anything like this, where like there's a rule in the CBA where if you trade a guy on a certain day to a team, and you have to, and you want to trade him back to that team, you have to wait a year. So the year would be July 7th. Have you ever seen something like that before it happened, where like anything like that, or no?
I know you could do it with an unrestricted free agent. You might have to, like, you could trade him and then have a possibility to sign back. But no, I don't know. These are the rules they're making up, not as they go. That's a bad way to say it. But there are little loopholes that get closed, and they figure it out. But I'm not very familiar with that at all. And just haven't been around that sort of thing in management or anything. So.
Okay. Yeah, no, because that's the thing. I mean, it's been one of them things where it's like you have to kind of wait. And I think the Flyers were trying to argue that it was more of different management because Chuck was the one who made the trade before, and now it's Danny. But anyway, that's a little bit different.
Sure.
So, say the Flyers do trade D'Angelo. I'm kind of curious what you're thinking about this too. If you trade D'Angelo, that means, and Sanheim's rumored to get dealt too. So just say, for example, those three guys go. You got Provorov, Sanheim, and D'Angelo go out the door. The only guys that you have on contract on D are York, Ristolainen, Sealer, and Walker. Yeah. I feel like, for me, if you're starting a rebuild, you'd have to get another type of veteran defenseman, right?
Yeah, I know that feels a little scary and a little raw. I mean, maybe a guy like Ronnie Adder can challenge for a spot or something like that, but you need some stability back there, and it's probably going to be with a couple guys, not just one. I mean, you're talking 3 or 4 young guys there that are going to try and play every day. That feels a little bit naked, and you need 7 that can play, even 8 that are really can play at 7 and 8 really be right on the edge and be really close to a 6. So that seems to me a little bit of work done, but they are moving some salaries around, and if Tony moves as well, then they can get rid of some more salary. And it seems like the market's getting established for the guys they don't want. It's retained 50%. So you got to be able to accept some of the money, and you're going to have to live with their money anyway, and do your best to try and fill those spots and find 3 or 4 defensemen, and can one come from underneath? One can come from Lehigh Valley, maybe, and Ronnie, or, somebody else who can challenge there. And it's hard. And that's, Jonesy and Danny, they got their work cut out for them, but they're they're trying to create some space anyway, and trying to make a spot that they do have that cap flexibility to get somebody. I think the cap's going up $1 million next year again, so you're not getting any help from the league. So you're kind of, again, everybody's kind of making the same soup with the ingredients they already got, right? It's not the same, it's just you're kind of stuck with what you have, and you got to get creative and try and get rid of them. And at least the new rules, right? You can have somebody eat some. You can eat some of your own financial bad mistakes. That helps a little bit too. You don't have to pass everything off to everybody, but it's going to be. You got to get creative, and you got to hope, and you got to get lucky that somebody's going to step in and fill that job.
Yeah, no, for sure, and that's the thing. Like, because my thing too is like, if you're rebuilding and you're starting this new era of Flyers hockey, I just can't see how you would send a bunch of rookies into these really high-end, roles like first pair, second pair, playing a lot of minutes against top guys in the league. Like the Flyers are like, it's just setting them up for just total disaster.
Well, it sets it up for a team as a disaster because they're not ready for it. It's the best league in the world, and you've got to like bring these guys along and give them a little bit. And individually, you ruin their confidence. So then their play really goes into the crapper. So it's everybody. All these young guys come up. They want, give me the ice time, give me the ice time, give me the ice time. And the reason they don't is because you're not ready for it. And every young guy, of course, you think you're ready for the ice, but you're not. And that's why they protect you and get you confident and get you going, and then give you a little bit more, and then you'll probably take a step back, and they got to sit you back a little bit, and then keep going. And that's just it's just this up and down and the give and take of having a young player. Every young player, I'll be a number one, I'll be a number two. No, you're not. You're not even close. You'll be so scared to go on the ice in a month. You won't even want to be on the ice anymore. You'll miss playing against a third or fourth line where you actually have a chance to be successful. So you got McDavid's and those guys breathing down, the Pasternaks, those guys coming down your throat, man. As a young one or two, it is really hard to be ready for that. I guarantee you that.
Yeah. And I'm curious, for you, was that something that you kind of dealt with too? Like when you were younger and getting in the league with the Red Wings, was that something you dealt with, just wanting to play?
Well, I think, you want to play because you're trying to stay in your career and you want to prove that you can, hold a job, but mine was probably, it wasn't held back because they were trying to slow me down. It was just because I didn't. All right, I'm back. But no, just to feel, ice time, like everybody wants it young, the coaches, like, they'd love to give it to you, but they only give it to you when you're ready. And it's hard. It takes a lot of put your arm around a kid, slow them down, tell them, hey, you're not ready yet, show them video, show them your mistakes, and just try and keep their confidence up. And it's not like, again, we've talked about it before, it's not a developmental league. When you come in, you got to come in and play and win games. People get fired if you don't do well. So it's not people don't have time for you to quote unquote develop as a one or two. You got to be ready for it.
Exactly, and that's why the AHL is so important. And for you, coaching there for a little bit, I did see the video the other day that the Griffins put out. Again, I'm not sure how much you can talk on it, but stepping away from the Griffins and coaching, just kind of talk about that a little bit, and kind of the decision at least.
Yeah, no, it was kind of, I've done that the last 7 years there in Grand Rapids, which is Detroit's farm team, and working with their young guys in the American League, and it worked out great. It was like 3 miles from the house. I worked with Jeff Blashill, who was a head coach of the Red Wings, Todd Nelson, who just won the American League championship again. Yeah, and he won one with Grand Rapids, and then Ben Simon, who was an assistant on that and was the head there for the last 4 or 5 years. So Ben's, they relieved everybody of their spots, and then I had they asked if I was interested at all working full time, and I was like, well, I've been out a while and got 2 boys playing Division I hockey, so I was kind of like, I've learned to like my flexibility, and so maybe it's time to move on. So the Griffins did a real nice thing for me, and I didn't think about it, but because I didn't really even retire from the NHL when it was time, I just kind of faded away, but they were like, well, our fans are wondering what's going to happen with you. So I'll probably, I still coach like a U16 team, so I've been able to take a lot of the stuff I've learned from the Griffins and then move it on to the 16 team. And in the piece, I even mentioned, I said, you learn a lot. I learned more as a player, more as a hockey person sitting in that office as a coach than I ever did as a player, because you're worried about so many other things when you're a player than just playing the game. You're worried about everything, And
right.
so it it was certainly an eye-opening experience to be there and be a coach, and it was great. So we'll do some different things, do a little bit of some of the side business, some in, and try and get some of that stuff going a little bit more.
Yeah, for sure. No, and again, congrats to you. It's a great career in coaching and playing and everything. Just kind of going off that, you mentioned your son, Cole, could be drafted this year in the 2023 draft. Just kind of talk about him a little bit. What are some of the things that you guys are kind of hoping for, and hopefully he ends up getting drafted this tomorrow or maybe Thursday.
Yeah, I know he's probably going to go on Thursday. So he was eligible last year and wasn't drafted. Ended up going to a Detroit's development camp. And this year he followed it up. We thought he had a really nice year in Fargo. He played Fargo in the USHL last 2 years. He followed it up with a really, really strong year this year. It was, all first team USHL. It was USA Hockey's National Junior Player of the Year. Won a big leadership award in the USHL. So he did everything. Increased his points, had 30 goals, 66 points. Played for the USA in this World Junior A Challenge. They won that. He was the captain of that. So had a really nice year. So he's put him in a good spot. And so, currently he's down in Notre Dame. They have a 6-week program going there and all that. And he's taking class and getting better as a player. So, yeah, we're certainly excited for Thursday. Certainly we're nervous as well, too, really nervous as a parent. There's nothing you can do. But, at the end of the day, he's done everything he could do to put himself in this spot. There's not one thing that, you can say as a coach that he should have done better or could have achieved. He took his team to the finals and everything. So, we got our fingers crossed, and he's kind of rated in the middle somewhere. So I guess we'll see, And at the combine, he even interviewed with the Flyers, which was great. Great for him.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And, again, I mentioned it the other day. I kind of put it out there, the Flyers have, 10 picks in this draft too. So anything can happen. And, good luck to you guys and to him. And hopefully that ends up working out. Just kind of going off that, though. Flyers have 2 picks, first round, number 7 and 22. Are there any guys that you kind of been looking at that you would maybe want to, if you were in that spot, if you were walking up to that podium, who would you take at 7?
Yeah, there's, it's a couple. Draft day is always so hard, right? Because guys, everybody, you see these big lists, and then everybody has their own list, and it could be a last-second trade or whatever. But a guy like Ryan Leonard, who's he probably could go anywhere from 4 to 10 in there. He's a USA. I think he's going to BC or something next year, and
I think so.
Yeah, he's a USA hockey guy, 05. Just I've had a chance to see him play a little bit. He seems to be, he's not the biggest guy. Cutter last year, you got Cutter Goche, who, we grew up playing against. He's, a little bit bigger, 6'2", 6'3". This guy's a little more compact, but plays really hard and was with the USA. Played with the 04 team as an 05, pretty regularly right away, and that would be a guy that probably fall in that range there, as far as American. I think Will Smith is another good young player. He might be in that 4, 5, 6 range. So again, you never know if some of these players will, somebody trades up or somebody offers Philly something and they might even back down, or there's all kinds of deals going on. So you never know what's going to happen. So.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, especially there's so many different things. Obviously, Michkov is one of the big ones too. F.A. Michkov, he could drop.
Oh yeah.
He's been rumored to go. Some people have said he could not go past 2, and Anaheim will take him, or he could fall all the way to 8 at Washington. So there's a lot.
Right, he's that big mystery, right? Yeah, Michkov. He's the one, the big Russian kid, or he's real big, but was hard to see. Nobody really saw him this year, and it's really hard to because of whatever sanctions, they couldn't get over there and see him, but somehow he made it over here to the States. So that'd be a pretty interesting story how he got over here for the draft. But certainly that's another guy that could fall in that area. Just probably get a real good player, but not sure.
Right.
Nobody's seen him, and that's why he'd fall. He might be rated higher if somebody saw him play a lot this year.
Yeah, exactly. It seems like teams now have been able to get scheduled to talk to him. I know the Flyers, they are talking to him. Briere did say it at the press conference a couple weeks ago, the pre-draft presser. I know Columbus didn't talk to him, and they pick at 3. Seems like they're going to go with Leo Carlson, but we'll see. Obviously, it's going to be a pretty big night tomorrow, and there's definitely going to be other trades and things like that. Just one last thing, Mike, before I let you go. Yeah, sorry about that. Um, just kind of going off that, I just wanted to ask you again. I don't know if you had said it already or what, but what was kind of the experience for you in free agency when you had signed here?
Well, it was one was fun. Yeah, it was fun. Like when I signed with Philadelphia, it was funny because the first day of free agency, now you have this recruiting period, and so some teams are coming after me. I didn't think I played very well against Philadelphia in my career, and so for them to like come after me was kind of funny, even though I was pretty productive in Boston. I guess that doesn't really matter, but yeah, you had to wait till July 1st. I actually missed it by a day the year before because I had a July 4th birthday, and back in the day, you had to be 31 years old, so I had a 30-goal season and then couldn't sign as a free agent. I had to play another year. I missed it by 3 days, so I had to go back around. And then, Philadelphia was right on me right away. So that day I worked. This is July 1st, 2004. I worked out, played golf, had a baby, and then signed with the Flyers all in one day on July
That's
1st.
that's a fun day.
So Cole is the one we were talking about earlier, who's going to be who's draft eligible here. That's the one we had the day I signed with the Flyers. So I guess it would be a really good story if he was born on that day, or
Yeah,
was drafted by the Flyers. It'd be a really good day, So
yeah, that'd be sick. That's a fun day.
yeah, that was a full day. I got a lot done that day. So,
There you go.
yeah,
Yeah, no, Mike, this was great. Yeah, obviously, the tech stuff, like it's kind of like what you said the first time we ever did this, it wouldn't be a podcast without technical difficulty. So there you go.
yeah. I'm sorry, I can't. I'm just about a half hour from home. Had to drive down to Detroit. My daughter was caught on New York City, like with all
The rain.
flights. Yeah, she's supposed to get home Sunday. She snuck out of there somehow today out of Newark. Like it's crazy, like trying to get her out of there. So,
Gotcha.
yes,
No big deal. All good.
great.
Yeah, no, Mike, thanks again. No show next week for the holiday. Happy early birthday to you as well. Thanks.
It is my birthday. Yeah, I'll be
Yeah.
having. That's the best birthday to ever to have. And anybody out there has a July 4th birthday, happy birthday. It's the best birthday you could ever have.
It's funny. Mine's actually the day after. So when I was younger,
Oh,
I always thought that the fireworks were for my birthday. Like I had no idea. But yeah, no. Thanks again, Mike. I appreciate it. I'll talk to you in a couple weeks, and hopefully all goes well at the draft this weekend for you and your family and Cole.
you got it. Keep an eye on it for me.
I will. All
Thanks,
right.
Chris.
See you,
Thank you.
Mike.
Yeah.
Yep.